Alright, now we are here on the test server and you can have a look at everything that makes up this new update. So let's just go piece by piece. As you see in a bit, you have the ability to actually buy... Oh, what the fuck? Alright, before we instantly swap over to the test server, let's obviously see if there's more arena stuff. So we have boosted rewards, the arena's weekly calculation rewards are increased, commanders can now obtain rare summoning crystals, platinum, apex coin at platinum 3 and above, and an exclusive avatar at apex overlord. So we'll check the rest of this out. Exclusive rewards, commanders ranked at platinum 3 and above will also receive apex coins, the weekly calculation which can be used in the apex shop of the Dwarven Association to exchange for exclusive rewards such as the new hero Lady Alexandra, an exclusive avatar border, an exclusive artifact. In addition, commanders ranked at overlord and apex overlord receive apex coins after each arena battle victory. So far so good. If you're interested in the math and how long it takes to get her, feel free to check out my Lady Alexandra video on my channel for like the exact specific numbers. We have her, if you're interested in her kit and what she can do, also feel free to check out that video. And yeah, winning streak bonuses, so that might actually change the so-called list that you need to become rank 1, but it's hard to say. Overall, you just get more rewards if you're able to defeat people, and it should make climbing to your true rank easier. So let's check out the equivalent on the test server real quick and give you an idea of what you're looking at. So here, let's start with the shop. There we go. Right here we have the Apex shop. As you can see, you have the Eye of Penitence, the Avatar border for Season 1, Lady Alexandra, Soul Stones, Lady Alexandra at normal. The cost is at the moment 40,000. Maybe they'll change it still. And this legendary skill crystal is actually like 1,000 coins. I would just have to push to Overlord again on the test server. The best part is this right here, the Apex Crystal Chest. You only need 20 coins, which you get at any rank above Platinum 3, and you'll have a chance at these rewards every week. So overall, it's a no-brainer to buy this Apex Crystal Chest with your Apex coins. You could, for example, like that, just get an Ancient. And yeah, let's have a look at the rest, which is... Let's go to Arena. So you can see at the moment I'm Gold 2. But yeah, if you click over here, you'll have a look at 200 coins for being Platinum 3, double that for being Overlord, and a bit more than quadruple that or close to for being Overlord. And you also get a certain number of points for actually winning with, I think it's 10 at Apex Overlord and 35 at 10 at Overlord and 35 at Apex Overlord. Now the interesting part is that whole season calculation stuff, where you see right here, the next season would, for example, end at the 12th of January. But the season rewards, so here in the arena mode, every 12 weeks constitutes a season. So like every 3 months is a season. And for whatever reason, the rewards didn't really feel anything too impressive. Like I'm pretty certain the season rewards are maybe like twice the weekly rewards. So don't be too hyped for them. They're not going to be super impressive, but just know that they do exist and there's going to be better rewards every 12 weeks, which is still a long time. I might still be wrong with that, but maybe they've changed it from how it was, but the 12-week rewards really wasn't anything impressive before. If you're interested in like how Lady Alexandra looks or whatever, we can quickly have a look at her, just to, I guess, kind of spice it up for you. You'll obviously see her in a bit too when it comes to the normal game, but there you go. Skill wise, I just hover over it. If you're interested, feel free to pause. So these are her skills. Awakenings, because why not? Alright, now that we're done with that, let's have a look at the next point on our list, which is going to be right here. Artifact material upgrade. Stage 19 to 22 added to artifact material rate. While tackling these new changes, commanders can obtain now two new types of meteorites, Titan meteorites and wisdom meteorites. The Artifact Forge interface will also add Titan and Wisdom Forge, allowing to use Titan and Wisdom Meteorites to forge artifacts for ground and platform heroes. These are the icons. So once more, let's swap to Testorino. There we go. And then under Heroes and Gear and Foundry, you'll have no, that's the wrong one. Under Artifact Forge and then you have, well, let me move myself out of the way. You'll have the Titan and the Wisdom Forge. So the whole part is Titan Forge guarantees you ground artifacts, Wisdom Forge guarantees you platform artifacts. The rates are as following: 70% legendary, 28% mythic, 2% exclusive. So let's see, can we actually get a hex exclusive? We can't because our artifact storage is full. If you're interested in what I think it was 15,000 diamonds of Titan / Wisdom Forges look like, feel free to check out the video on my channel. And let's have a quick look at AMR 19, 20, 21 and 22. So here we are for AMR, and yeah. So basically, the kind of gist of it is AMR 19 is all about ground fighters because you only have a single platform. AMR 20 is all about platform fighters because you only have 2 ground platforms, these 2 in front of the core. No, 3. You see these like slightly less gray tiles, 2 in front of the tile and then 1 a bit above. So right here and right here. These ones are where you can place your ground unit. So it's basically ground superiority, ranged superiority, and you know as well as I do, as soon as we get to the update on the 14th, you'll have minimum requirements, minimum legendaries, minimum gear, everything in between on how you can clear 19, 20, 21 and 22 respectively. As well as, I guess, a general value proposition on when you should actually tackle these or farm these in general. So that's the new AMR. Let's move on. So for that we obviously go right back over here. And we have a Shard Summon. As a key confidant to the Blood Mother, Selene reigns supreme in a corner of the Sangrease Mountains with the unrivaled prowess in swordplay and vampiric politics. Selene's multi-strike magic attacks can apply marks to enemies. Her talent Throbbing Wound triggers when the mark stack reaches a certain threshold, dealing massive magical damage. Her bond skill can also inflict a significant vulnerability magic damage effect on enemies. Selene the Blood Spiller Viscount. Now you've read bond skill, you've read everything descriptive. What is she all about and who is her bond skill with? Let's have a look at that. So if we go to heroes and we go to the esotericists and fighters, you're going to be able to see that we have Selene right here. And if we take a look at Selene's skills, let's actually quickly max those out before we take a look so we don't have to do too much mental math. Alright, so here we are visually enhanced and fully upgraded. Talent, Throbbing Wound, inflicts a mark on the enemy every time the hero deals damage to them. When the enemy has 4 stacks of marks, deals 100% damage twice to the enemy. Okay, so far so good. We have the basic attack, magic attack dealing 120% damage. Lunge, a basic attack has a 20% chance to trigger this effect, dealing 180% damage to one target and inflicting 1 stack of mark on enemies around the target, so an AoE mark. Startling Riposte. Basic attack and lunge have a 20% chance to apply 2 stacks of mark when Throbbing Wound is triggered. The mark deals damage to enemies bearing the mark regardless of distance, and the number of damage scales with the number of mark stacks. So basically she's dealing more damage to people with more marks, and if she AoE marks to someone and they move past her, she can still hit them. Apparently. Now we have her bond skill, Vampiric Sting. Obtain hero Giselle, the Eternal Duelist, to unlock the following effect. Ultimate inflicts vulnerability magic by 30%. And yes, we are all talking about the same person. You actually need to get your hands on her. Giselle. Isn't that crazy? A ancient exclusive hero with the bond skill to a limited time fusion. Here's her effect. You can read through it if you want to, but let's actually get back to business right here. So here we go with the ultimate. Deals damage to an enemy 6 times swiftly, dealing 120% damage with the first 4 hits and 160% damage with the last 2 hits, giving us a grand total of 720% plus 320%, so 1040% damage. No, wait, it's 6, so it's 120 times 4, which means 480 plus 320, so 800% damage. Not bad. Now, what else does she have? She has what was supposed to have been her exclusive artifact before. For every 10 instances of magic attack inflicted, Celine's Shadow Strike is summoned upon up to 3 enemies, dealing 130% damage. This effect can be triggered as often as every 8 seconds, which was quite useful in spreading her marks. And then she got her actually exclusive artifact called Sanguine Shroud. Reduces the required stacks of marks to trigger Throbbing Wound by 1. When Swish is triggered, deals 35% extra damage for 15 seconds. So Swish is her ultimate, which means 35% extra damage for 15 seconds. And Throbbing Wound, let me see. To trigger Throbbing Wound by 1, which means she would now deal 200% damage every time she attacks an enemy with 3 stacks of marks. Interesting, 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 and that is Celine for you. You'll obviously get a testing video as soon as possible, and yeah. Was that what? Okay, here we go. Let's speedfire patch notes to see if we missed anything big. So patch notes for the 14th of October. We have Arena. Reduced future arena purchases day, so you can buy more arena purchases. The good part about buying more arena purchases is if you buy more purchases, you get more Apex Overlord coins. If you get more Overlord or Apex coins, you can use those to actually buy more, buy the new hero faster, right? Legendary hero, yeah, that's the same. So we have hero, Anora. Anora actually gets a buff. Before, when activated, Labor immediately deals 360% damage up to 10 enemies in the target area. Doing the ultimate increases Labor's damage by 100 blah 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 blah. And now when activated, what changed? She basically increases attack range. You can kind of see it there, but it says, okay, let's have a look here. Basically, the only difference is he increases his attack range, which increases Honora's general attack range, which is overall pretty overpowered. And then we have the A3, where instead of ignoring 15%, you now ignore 20% magic res. Furthermore, we are getting the Hex Bond skill that we already talked about. And also Nisande is getting her ability to display debuffs. So Nisande is getting her superior buff. Giselle is getting a couple of changes if you want to have a look at it. So hero positioning optimized and strengthened. Newly added the bond skill to enhance the hero's early combat ability and PvP single target DPS. Oblivion Strike increases damage rate to heroes with higher than 60%, now higher than 50%. And she got the Vampiric Charm. Obtains Celine the Bloodspur Viscount to unlock the following bonus effect. Reduces Giselle's first deployment cost by 2, increases her damage by 20% for 60 seconds during her first deployment, and Giselle restores 100% rage immediately when she helps eliminate an enemy, which can be triggered up to once during her first deployment. We already had a look at the Celine skill right here, and I think this interface is a bit too big because you can't quite see everything. Alright, sorry for this being a bit too scuffed. Next up, we have, basically just a change to her kit. Ultimate is cast, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I guess we have to look at her awakenings real quick, just so we have like a whole picture of it. Which means we just quickly swap over here, look at the awakenings, and we have the A1. Chance to trigger lunge plus 10% instead of 20, crit damage plus 15. When killing an enemy, gains an effect of ignoring 30% of enemy magic rest for 10 seconds, seems pretty strong. Rage region plus 2, and every one time the ultimate is cast, the next ultimate deals an extra 150% damage 3 times. If that can stack infinitely, that's obviously pretty overpowered, but considering the fact that she's a limited time fusion, you'll probably have to wait for a banner for her, and even then I don't think it's really all that worth it. But enough of that, let's go back to the patch notes. We have Praetus. When basic attack deals damage to targets inflicted with Radiant Erosion, Praetus restores 3% rage. Change to when basic attack deals damage to a target, Praetus restores 3% rage. Very overpowered, very impressive, and the reason they did it is because people interact a lot with the Radiant Erosion debuff. For example, Lucius, not Lucius, for example, Jira or damn, the guy with the spear, Thalen. Those do remove these buffs, which would invalidate his A1, and you can't invalidate the A1 of the most powerful unit in the game, which is why Praetus is getting this very overpowered buff. Next up, we have added info hyperlinks and status icons for some of Lucius and Ingrid's skills. So what happens for Lucius is you now have an icon at the top that shows you how many stacks of damnation he's on, and for Ingrid you get an information on how many more attacks she needs to do before she enters like her overload state, where she does like this big overpowered beam and stuff like that. Next up, gear recommendation. Added a feature where you can customize the gear recommendation rules to current rule set as the default. Commanders can edit the rules for any gear set. Commanders can export the gear set, edit the gear, and add blah blah blah. So just because you're obviously curious about it, I just show it to you real quick. And as usual, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. As soon as we get that feature on global, you'll have a video on the ready giving you exactly the best way for gear recommendations. For the moment, I can show you how it looks to me. If we go to sell and recommendation rules, I already have like my 20 endgame rules prepared, and the way it works is you can determine the set, the primary attribute, the secondary attributes you want, and also how many of the selected set attributes it needs to have before it is considered good. And yeah, these are then obviously all the rules you're going to get, and the way it works is then only pieces that meet your rules are going to get a thumbs up. And yeah, that is pretty much the way this whole system works. Alright, so onto the patch notes again, see if we missed anything and see if we can end the video quicker. Alright, out with this, here we go. Titan Forge and Wisdom Forge added, we already had a look at it. Quick Enhance, you can now quick enhance gear pieces through the reward page of auto fights, which is overall very overpowered, very much quality of life. And also our gear capacity, standard capacity goes from 1100 to 1500, and for those that bought the extra slots from 1300 to 1700, and for those that already have the Hyperion buff, I think it goes from 1700 to 1900. Added the feature of filtering by gear sets and sorting by customized conditions to gear plan. Added the feature of filtering gear by enhancement level in the gear filter, and improved the smoothness and frame rate of the gear interface. Sure, might as well. And then we have the stage drop rates. Increase the drop quantity of smoldering scale and sanguine fabric. Increase the cost regeneration by 10% for all arena stages. Okay, monster HP plus 50%, defense plus 10, magic rest plus 10. Overall, arena monsters more difficult to kill. Reduce the difficulty of defeating Samurai Apocalypse 1 in Titan runes, but it refers to actually your guild having to do an X amount of damage to completely kill him. Now Titanic runes Apocalypse 1 when advanced evolution is at 0 stacks. So if he has 0 stacks, his death sword damage is reduced by 50%, which makes it easier for early game players to make progress towards the first few chests on Samra, because you don't need damage reduction because the damage of the sword isn't high enough to one-shot your people outright. When Samra reaches 9 stacks of advanced evolution, its attributes will increase significantly, mainly to kind of deter people from having a team that is infinitely invulnerable. Aegis mode hardening effect adjustment changed to a stackable debuff, increasing by 1 stack each time it's cast. After being dispelled, stacking starts from 0, so there's your buff to Lucius. There's your buff to Kigiri that isn't even out yet. Petrification mechanic optimizations. Monsters will be released from petrification after 60 seconds, which I think has to do with Lycia. So in the Lycia Voidrift, monsters can now leave the petrified state, which should be a good thing. And optimize the stage Deity Soleil, which is the advanced Voidrift, where you have to fight her, and reducing the stage requirement for piercer lineups, which basically meant they moved everything one tile forward so you can hit it more easily. Next up, they added unpolished legendary source to the random drop pool of legendary and mythic chests in Drake's Chest in Nightmare 3 and find epic legendary and mythic chests in Nightmare 4. It is basically able to awaken any non-lord legendary hero. They added the new item Freya's Legacy, which was the tree you can swap. New achievement, PC Gamer 1 for the Windows version. Log into the Windows version for a total of 120 days to receive an exclusive chat bubble. Very fancy. The quest is received on the first login after the update, and counting begins from the next day. And you will be able to get Imperial Hydra, Ymmerit, Frigid Fortress Chusk, and Oathkeeper Theowin in the skin shop. Whew! Okay, I think this is everything. We are through with it. We'll obviously go into more in-depth stuff right here, but I think it's time to get hyped because they legit covered everything. Holy shit. Peace.